Hi, girls, and welcome back to Self Care Black Girls, a podcast where we relax, sip tea, and chat about bettering ourselves as black girls. I'm BB, and I'll be helping guide you to make better choices in your daily lives. So, hi. This episode is a few days late, and I apologize for that. I didn't realize until the last minute that the last episode was the last one that I had pre-recorded, and this weekend was crazy busy for me, so I didn't have time to record or pre-record this episode and the upcoming episodes. So I apologize for that. But here I am. So anyway, today's episode is going to be another part in my senior advice series. This episode is going to be about making a major decision. You see what I did there? Anyway, so on top of the previous topics I've covered, like picking a school and all that other stuff that I've talked about, you also want to make sure that the major you're picking is one that you feel like is gonna, is gonna get you the best in life, what you want, be able to take you places that you want to go and stuff like that. So I have some things that when you're deciding on a major, and this series is not just for seniors in high school. This, you can be a junior, you could be a sophomore, you could even be a freshman in high school, and you could always be thinking about your future. If you know for a fact that you're going to college, then this series is for you. So I have some tips for you all to think about to help making a decision on what you want to major in a little bit better. And this is not to say that you have to go into college with a major. There's always the option of going in undecided and you picking what you want to pick, based off of a few classes that you've taken, maybe the general ed classes that you've taken, something out of those piqued your interest, and now you are thinking about majoring in that. So, for example, one of the prereqs at my school is, you have to take 2 math classes. For one of the other requirements, I took philosophy. So something like that, maybe you want to major in philosophy after that class, which I didn't. I promise you I didn't. Or maybe math, which once again, I didn't. But I digress. So the first thing that you want to think about when deciding on a major in college is what you want to think about what your passion is. Like I said, if you're a freshman, maybe you hadn't found that yet. Even maybe sophomore year, you hadn't found out what you're passionate about, education-wise or in life in general. But you want to think about things that you like doing, If you like taking care of other people, then you may want to lead towards something in the healthcare field, like nursing or public health or something like that. Or if you like math, if you're one of those people that likes math, nothing wrong with y'all, just not my cup of tea. But if you are somebody who likes math, then maybe you want to major in math. I'm not exactly sure how math majors work. I'm not sure if there's just like one general one or if you can major in like calculus and algebra and stuff like that. But maybe you want to, if that's something you want to do some research on it. Which leads into another point that I wanted to make. When you think about what you're passionate about, you also want to think about some of your weaknesses and your strengths. Don't go to college expecting to major in math if you can't get any higher than a C in math in high school. Because I promise you, if you can't get higher than a C in high school, you're not going to do so well in the college level classes. I can promise you that. So, be real with yourself. Like I said, if you're not strong in math, don't try to major in math. If you are strong in math, then maybe you would want to consider math as a major or something that has math at its center. Like maybe one of the sciences or something in the healthcare field. I do think there's a couple math classes in those, but do your research and acknowledge your strengths and your weaknesses. Something else that you want to consider when picking a major is it going to make decent money for you in the future? And by decent, I don't mean living a lavish lifestyle. I'm not talking living like Beyonce or somebody, who's making billions, millions, and billions of dollars a year. I mean decent by will it cover the bare minimum and then maybe a little extras for like emergencies or something. So you want to, in your research, when you're trying to pick a major, you want to make sure that it's going to make enough money for you to live off of, And if you want to take it a step further, is with raises and promotions, is that major going to be able to help you provide for a family if you want one in the future? So, you have to think about things like this. And this isn't to scare you, but, when you start thinking about a major, you kind of have to think further on into the future past college. So think of, do some research and see if the career options, which will be my next topic, will make you decent money in the future. Going with the career options, you also want to do research on the different career paths that you could take with that major. So I'm so sorry. So for example, if you want to major in, oh my gosh, I'm just making unnecessary noise. I apologize. So if you want to major in, let's do something not nursing. If you want to major in something like, let's do psychology. Are there careers in the future for that? I'm pretty sure some of you may or may not remember, depending on how old you are, in like elementary school, middle school, high school, if you were lucky, having to research a career and see how much money they make and the path that you would have to take to get to that career. Or maybe if you don't remember doing that, you remember taking a career test, and it kind of puts you in a category of based off of how you answered questions, what best your career skills would be. You want to do something like that. Do some research into things like that. Is this career going to be relevant in the future? And by relevant, I don't mean is everybody going to be wanting to do it. I mean, is there going to be a need for that job in the future? Like, there will always be a need for doctors. There will always be a need for nurses, teachers, things like that. Is there going to be a need for that career path for your major, And I guess this specifically goes to people who major in things like nursing, that you kind of have a closed set of opportunities, like with nursing. I mean, you can't, and correct me if I'm wrong, there isn't really anything outside of the medical field that you can do with a nursing major, I don't think. So think about things like that. Is your major going to give you the opportunity to be a part of a career that will remain relevant at least, for 20 years? So think about that when you're choosing a major. Now, the next topic I want to talk about is, does your school offer it or something similar? So I believe it was the last episode. It was either 1 or 2 episodes ago in this series. I talked about choosing a school. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it in that episode, but I'm going to mention it in this episode. When choosing a school, you want to make sure that school offers the major that you want. So, like my school, we offer a wide variety of majors, but if you were lucky enough to get in the honors college, you could create your own major. So, you could be like some type of psych math major. I'm not sure. I'm just, thinking, but I remember being offered that when I got offered to go into the honors college, that I was able to create my own major, so I could kind of create my own path and, be different. So you want to make sure that if you were if you know what you want to major in before you pick the school, just make sure that that school offers your major or something similar that will put you on the same path that you need to be on to get to where you wanted to be when you chose the major. That makes sense? I hope so. Moving on top of making sure your school has it, you will also want to know how much it costs and how you plan on paying for it. Now, when I say you want to know how much it costs, I don't mean tuition, room and board, meal plan, stuff like that. I mean, are there going to be extra fees? I've taken 2 science classes here because it was a requirement, and there was like a $75 lab fee. And one of the classes didn't even have a lab, but we couldn't get refunded. So, yeah, there's that. But, you want to look into the hidden costs and fees that you may not think of off the top of your head. You're like, oh, well, that's just included in tuition. Well, when I looked at my bill, that lab fee had its own little slot. It was not included into tuition. And usually if you go onto the department page, they'll, either the department page or the school's tuition page, they'll let you know, whether there's like lab fees and other fees that come along with the different majors. But just check and make sure, see if it fits within your budget, make sure it's not too expensive and whatnot. And if it is, you need to look into other options for payment or for schools, or depending on how far out of range it is, you may have to consider a different major. Now, going back to how do you plan to pay for it, check and see if there's scholarships available for that major, because I know at this school, I think there are some majors for psych. There are some scholarships for psych majors. I'm not sure. Like I said, I got rid of that major a long time ago, so I don't remember. But check and see. There may be some scholarship opportunities for freshmen who are coming into that major, or maybe there's some for seniors or juniors or sophomores. Just check frequently on the department's page and keep up to date with any scholarships that they're offering. These last 2 tips that I have, or points that I have for you all to think about when choosing a major, kind of go hand in hand, so I'm going to do them together. They are talking with current majors and thinking about what the workload is like. So, common sense, if you're talking to somebody who's currently majoring in that, they're going to be able to tell you what the workload is like. Now, I wouldn't necessarily talk to a freshman unless you wanted to know, how are the intro classes, the prereqs, if you wanted to get a feel for how the major works. I would talk to the juniors. Those are the ones who have enough experience from freshman year and they're almost at the finish line. So I would recommend talking to juniors about what it's like majoring in say for marine science, for example. And talk to them about what the workload is. Does it call for late nights, early mornings? Can you clock out of work? Can you clock out of school at like 5 o'clock and still have plenty of time to sleep, party, whatever you do in your free time? Are you going to be drinking a lot of coffee? Are you going to be pulling frequent all-nighters? Just try to get a feel for what the major is going to require out of you, so you can get a basic idea of whether you want to major in that and whether it's a good idea for you. Because how you are. You know how easy it is for you to wake up in the morning and how hard it is for you to sleep. So you don't want to add to those issues. So just, try to get a feel for what the workload is like. Ask them, how their mental health is. Has the major contributed to it in any way and whatnot? And, just get a feel for it. But that is all that I have for you all today in this episode. Be sure to go back and listen to the past, I want to say 2. I'm really not sure how many of these episodes how many senior advice episodes I've done, and that's really bad, but it's been a very busy semester for me, so give me a little slack. But be sure to go back and listen to those. I do believe this is the last one No, there is one more coming up in December for this to end the volume off. So be on the lookout for that. Also, this will not be that will not be the last episode in the series. I want to try to continue this all the way up until maybe the end of whenever volume 2 is, as far. I mean, volume 3, depending on how far into the year I plan on going with that, and give you guys some more advice from a college senior on how to, prepare yourself for college. But like I said, I'm rambling now. Thank you all so much for listening, and I'll see you all next week. Bye. Thanks for listening this week. If you have any questions, want to share a story, or be featured in our Q&As, send them to me at selfcarebgirl@gmail.com or submit them on my blog at selfcareblackgirls.com. While you're over there, subscribe and join so you never miss anything. Subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes to help spread the word. You can also donate one time or monthly by clicking on the Patreon link on my blog. There are rewards. Thanks again for listening, and don't forget to stay beautiful.